Okay, welcome to episode 6 of education, global education and career management series podcast. This is episode 6, and we're going to focus on what it takes and the process for you to apply for PhD and postdoctoral. Okay, so this is still your podcaster, Daniel Obi. Okay, so this is the summary of episode number 5. This is first the presentation outline. I don't really want to go into it. You can, so we'll go straight to introduction section 1. So, which is the recap of episode number 5. So, 1, we provided detailed information to help you determine whether postgraduate diploma or master's degree will be good for you. So, in that sense, you have to decide which one is more appropriate for you. Then the other point is that we explain different types of masters, like thought masters, uh, masters by research, normal masters. Then you have MPhil, MBA. So different types of masters. So can you explain the differences? And we also explain the parameters for ranking of applicants for master's degree admission. So you have to go back to episode 4 and 3 in order to check the parameters and rank yourself. Now, for competitive master's degree in Ivy League universities like Harvard, MIT, Oxford, University of Toronto, the admissions are very competitive. So the applicants will be mandatory rank. So if you really want to attend the Ivy League university, you have to check what is your ranking. And most universities that are, so you must also go back to episode number 3, 4, and 5, so that it will now help you to know which masters, which PhD that will be good for you. Now, there are many opportunities across the globe for master's degree in a program. So it's very important that you go back to it. Okay, so then section 1 continues. So these are the important questions that you should ask before you start. The first is why questions. What do you want to pursue? Why do you want to pursue your PhD or postdoc? It's very important that you should know that. Why do you want to pursue your PhD outside your country or continent? Why? You have to, the process. If you have answered why question, you have to know that PhD or postdoctoral takes a process, takes time. So do you have the passion, patience, and determination for the process? Do you have the overview of the PhD process? So that's what we're trying to do, the admission. So then the what. What do you want to do with your PhD is very important. What is your target during your PhD? What do you want to achieve while you are doing your PhD? How many publications do you want to invent something and all that? Now the failure question is very important because statistically there are number of people that started their PhD, but they couldn't complete. It may not be their fault, it may be their fault. So you have to check. It's possible. Again, what is your plan if you have the problem with your supervisor? If you fall out with your supervisor, what is your plan? Then the career question. How would the PhD study affect your career choice? So the idea is that you don't want to be going towards north and your PhD is taking you to the south. So you see, it's very important that you should be able to make sure that your PhD study and your career are synonymous. What do you do if you cannot work with your PhD? Now, especially people from third world country, if you go to the developed country or first world, as the case may be, when you finish, there's chances that you may not get a job in academic. So what do you want to do? So now, before you start, there are issues that you have to consider. Number one, the purpose of for your PhD. You have to check three things: your career path. Is your PhD study leading you to career path? You choose to choose a course and a supervisor is very important, and choosing a country and a university. So this is things that will inform the type of PhD you are going to choose. Then there's what you call extraneous factor. Extraneous factor include host country immigration policy, especially if you're from a third world country to a developed world. Their immigration sometimes could be against immigrants, or to some extent those who are there to study. So you have to be careful. Now, also the host country economic outlook. Now, if you are studying in a country and the economic outlook is not looking good, the chances that they'll start cutting, and when they start cutting, it will affect everybody. The foreign student or international student are likely to be the most casualty. Okay. Now, so your country economic status inform the way you could be treated. For instance, somebody from lesser Africa doing a PhD in first world nation, and somebody from another first world nation doing the same PhD in another first world nation. The two students are doing the same PhD, but because of the economic differences of their home country, they are not treated the same. So you have to be aware of that. Again, you have to assess your chance. You cannot decide, you just apply. No, you have to sit down, use the SWOT to check your strength and weaknesses with respect to the opportunities that come your way. You have to first build your CV and evaluate your funding sources. So these are part of what you should be doing. So before you start, once you make up your mind, you start to gather supporting document, your transcript, whether bachelor, your first degree, transcript or masters, your or OND, you have to get them, scan it, put them in a digital format. Now, the next thing is language proficient tests. So TOEFL, IELTS. So if you really did, if you have done this test, you need to include it. Then standardized test, something like GRE, GMAT, SAT. So if you have taken it, you have to include it. Then you have to draft references for a referee. It's very important. When you talk to your referee and they agree to give you references, make sure each university you give them a draft uh, reference letter so that they can edit it. Always prepare your CV before you even start academic CV. So in the next episode, we'll focus on this academic CV. Prepare your PhD research proposal. In most cases, it's not. Then prepare statement of motivation. They want to know, why do you want to come to study in their country, in the university, and that particular course. Then employer's introduction letter is very important. Then contact for reference letters. You have two people that have taught you and one person that will give you character letter. Then cover letter. It's not compulsory, but I always advise on it. Okay, so now the second question is funding your PhD or postdoc. It's very important that how do you want to fund your PhD? So there are three things, but before I mention two things, you have to ask your question. Are you self-funding, or who is your sponsor? Is it your parents or your government or corporation? Do you have a scholarship, or do you need a scholarship? Are you married with children? Will they join you? These are the questions that you have to answer. Now, for you to start and finish, you have to first check what you call seed funding. The seed funding include the cost of the transcript. You have to pay for your university transcript, cost of language test, cost of standardized test, and also university always take application fees for them to, if you submit all your document, to consider whether they will admit you or not. Then you have to also pay for study permit in your country to the visa or to the embassy of the country you want to go and study. Then again, you have to pay for your flight going and coming. Now, they will call it seed funding because these things are for you. But what the people that will give you study permit, the embassy will be looking for is your tuition fee, how much it is, how much is available for you, the living expenses of the country, the city, the province that you are studying. So they want to know how do you want to fund these things. So it's very important. Now, okay, so if you are submitting, these are the general document requirement, the difference between uh, a PhD and postdoc. For admission application form, yes, you must fill it, whether you are PhD or postdoc. Then you must submit your transcript certificate for a PhD, your transcript of masters and first degree. Then postdoc, for postdoc, you must submit your PhD. Then standardized test score, GRE or GMAT or SAT for PhD, yes, especially competitive. For postdoc, no. Language proficient test for PhD, it's not compulsory, but there are certain competitive university, yes. For postdoc, no. Then researcher proposal for PhD, maybe. For postdoc, um, yes. Then for reference letters for PhD, yes. For postdoc, depending if it's a fellowship, yes. If it's maybe a supervisor that want to work with you, maybe not. Then cover letter, yes, for both. Employment letter of introduction, yes, for both. Academic CV, yes, for both. Now, 3.2, I want you to pay attention, please. If you really want to get result, put yourself in the position of the people of your potential supervisor. These are what your supervisor may be looking for before it will decide to work with you. Number one, a supervisor will want to make sure that your research focus is aligned with his or her research focus. Take note of that. So you cannot have a research focus that is different from another person and you want that person to supervise you. That's number two. Do you have a research in a publication? Have you participated? So if you don't have a research in a publication, that might be a problem. Then they will also want to look at, okay, do you have the standardized test score? If the answer is yes, if it's high, it motivates them. Then they will look at your a transcript and see your GPA. Like if you have a first class, it shows them that this person is serious. Then they have to look at your work experience. Are you teaching or are you working? So your work experience will also affect whether they will take you or not. Okay. So the question is that if you want to apply for admission, either you do it by yourself or you can get agent. So the essence of this podcast series is to make sure that you can do it by yourself. Every information you need, you get it. So look at these documents that you have to download and prepare the application checklist, usually from the university website. It's very important so that each uh, item you provided, you mark it. Then also I provided a uh, small pdf.com. So when you go there, you can use it to merge many PDF. You can use it to convert Microsoft Word to a PDF and vice versa. So it's a tool that you need. So then you need a credit card. After applying, most universities accept a credit card payment. If you don't have a credit card payment, then you have to find somebody. So these are other. Then if you're using an agent, you have to discuss with your agent very well. Okay, what do you need from me? How much will it cost? Then what are the documents do you need from me? Then the question is, you have to make sure that all the documents that agent is going to upload will be provided by you, so that nobody is going to give you we're going to generate a document that is not original and upload. In most cases, it will lead to a very disastrous outcome. Discuss refund of your admission application, assuming that admission application is refused. Okay, if you are paying and it gave you assurance, what of if it's refused? Will the agent or consultant refund their money and also possible sign a contract? Now there are two things that could happen. Either the admission is favorable. In that case, if it's favorable, you'll be issued with admission letter. And if you're issued with admission letter, you'll be given a window of time to pay the acceptance fee. So you have to pay the acceptance fee, and that will give you access to open your student portal in their website. Then once you do that, get in touch with a student's advisor to update the okay that you're applying for, and you need this admission letter to apply for a study permit. Now, if the decision is unfavorable, you will get a letter of refusal and they will state reasons. So if you feel that the reasons are not, then you can you can contest it by writing to the consul general of that embassy, and you state why you disagree with the reason. Okay, so I want to mention scholarship, briefly, but I'm going to give a whole lot of attention to scholarships. There are different types of scholarship, like government scholarships. So most of the developed countries do have a scholarship for students from developing countries. Okay, so it's a very then the foundation scholarships like Bill Gates scholarship, Mastercard scholarship. These are foundation scholarships. There are other international corporation scholarship. We have university merit-based scholarship. Okay, like most of the Ivy League universities, they always look out for exceptionally brilliant students, students with a perfect score in SAT. They are more likely to get their scholarships. Then you have minority scholarship. In certain countries, minorities are considered based on certain category of scholarship called minority scholarship. Also, gender-based scholarship. Female in science, technology, mathematics, and all that. Sometimes there's a scholarship that's meant for them. Project supervisor scholarships. Now, a lot of professors have grants, have project funding. So they look for smarter students. If they hire you, then they will give you scholarship and others. Now, for students from the whose parents are permanent residents or who are citizens of a developed countries, now there are other forms of not really scholarship but support, something like student loans, something like student grants, something like student financial assistance and education saving plan. So these are options that you have. Okay, so now also for you to apply for scholarship, these are the most general documents. Okay, so I just mentioned so that you'll be aware. For you to apply for scholarship, you have to prepare your academic certificate. That's where they will know whether you are first class or 2-2. So GPA matters a lot. The next thing is your score. What's your score in standardized test? Let's say you wrote SAT. You're going for first degree and you score 1,400. So once you score 1,400 over 1,600 is considered a perfect score. So it could open doors. Then also language proficient test. What's your score there? Then motivation letter. If somebody reads your motivation, is it compelling? Is it powerful? Can you move somebody? Can you move the committee? Then reference letter. Who are the people that will give you a reference letter? What did they study? Then your academic CV. When they look at your academic CV, they want to see this person is solid, and also community service and leadership position. Scholarship also, they want to know that the person that is that I want to give scholarship has is selfless to some extent. Okay, and also previous scholarships obtained. If you have people that have obtained previous scholarships are more likely to be given more scholarship. So these are the eligibility and metrics for scholarship award in 4.4. First class, I've mentioned it, standardized test score, number of applications, minority, gender, research project relevant. So now, um, so when you finish, the next thing is post-study permit. So now when you have the admission and you've already paid acceptance fee, then you have to go to the embassy website in your country to submit your application. So the first question is that, are you single? So this one is for those who are single. Okay. So these are the factors critical to your PhD studies. Okay. Scholarship or self-funding, or your supervisor is the one funding. Do you have a family? Do you have a family or single? Country immigration policy, political climate, economic outlook of your country, your country status or image, your health. Okay, so these are the critical, factors. Now, if you are single, what you need is that you have to contact your, in case if you need help in your study permit approval. Okay. Now, you have to confirm your flight ticket reservation if you are, in order to apply for um, uh, a study permit, but it's not compulsory. Then I will advise people you have to buy health insurance. It's very important that you buy health, traveling health insurance. It's not compulsory, but in case if something happen, you make arrangement for your accommodation on arrival. Then check seasonal weather you will face on arrival. So these things are assuming that you've been given study permit. Your study permit application was approved. So these are the things you okay. But if you are married, you do the same thing. The only difference is that you may first you can go with your family, or you may decide to come first, start your school, establish, get appropriate accommodation, and bring your family. It's your choice. But if you want to go with them, then the amount of money that the embassy will require will be very high. But if you want to go alone, then it will drive down the cost a bit. So once you go there, you establish, you have bank account, you have a house, or you have a accommodation, you can now apply for your family to join you. So these are the requirements that you need if you're a family person. One of them is you have to get apartment that is comparable to the size of your family. You have to have a fund that will last for 3 months in your bank account. So if your family join you, your spouse at least can take 3 months to get a job. Okay. So the summary of our presentation. The duration of PhD program depends on global region. 3 years in Europe, 4 to 6 years in North America. The ranking of a PhD applicants in admission consideration is strictly based on factors such as GPA, do you have a first class or 2-1, standardized test, what's your score, academic publication, do you have academic publication, academic position, are you in academic, then gender, minority, these are the things. Then the duration of a PhD varies across the globe region, roughly 3 years. I've already mentioned it. Obtaining a PhD is partly your hard work and partly the type of supervisor you have. So what does it mean? It means you have to have emotional intelligence to understand your supervisor, to know his triggers and not, and know what he wants and what he doesn't want. Okay, there are many sources of scholarships and fellowships for scholarship for PhD, fellowships for postdoctoral, so you can explore that. If you are married, PhD study may be tougher for you. Why? I may not answer the question. You must have a viable plan in case you do not succeed in your PhD program. Always make sure that if you don't succeed, so that you don't go out. So that's the end of this episode 6, and I want to thank you for listening to this episode 6. So you can reach out to me if you have questions or whatever to this email. And also, please, if you be so kind and gracious enough, you can give me likes, comment, and I will appreciate it. Thank you, and God bless.